Hi, John here from Selectronic here with another video case study. Coming to you again from the Clifton Creek area of Gippsland, and just half a kilometre behind me is a property that narrowly managed to avoid any damage from the recent bushfires. As you can see from the surrounding areas, they came dangerously close. So we're going to go and chat to Shane from Gippsland Solar, who installed their system, and just see what kind of precautions were put in place. Hi, I'm with Shane from Gippsland Solar, and we're here to talk about this property here. Thanks very much for your time.
No worries, thank you.
So this property itself, Kath and Elaine, they moved into the property how long ago?
It was a little bit over 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Had an existing smaller off-grid system, which had Selectronic inverter in it.
Yep.
The system was working fine, but the batteries were at end of life. But it was really quite a small system, so at the time of upgrading the batteries, they inquired about increasing their capacity.
Yep.
So they could run some more appliances and things in the house.
Because it's a fairly big property, isn't it?
It is quite a sizable property, but they also wanted a little bit more flexibility.
Mm-hmm.
Also to be able to run, a decent electric pump for, that they could utilise for firefighting and things like that as well.
Great. So mentioning firefighting, I mean, you can see the property is pretty much undamaged and the surrounding areas. But what was sort of built in with that resiliency? I think it was a sprinkler system of some sort.
Yeah. So there's quite an extensive sprinkler system on the roofs, and that was partly by a petrol firefighting pump,
Mm-hmm.
but also backed up by an electric pump as well.
Great.
The issue being the firefighting pump only has about an hour and a half of fuel availability, and as it turned out, they needed a lot longer time of pumping when the fire front was coming.
Yep. So there's electric pumps.
So the electric pump did the heavy work in the end. So.
Yep. That's great. Lovely. And whereabouts is the main solar array located?
So the main solar array is on the shed just behind us.
Yep.
And it originally had about 1.2 kilowatts of solar panels on a tracking unit, which they're still operational and they're good quality panels, so we retained those.
Yep.
We put a SP Pro inverter with AC coupled with Fronius.
Yep.
And we were able to marry the old panels and the new array that we put up as the Primo, so it gave them the best of both worlds. So we've got a fixed array of high performance panels on tilt frames angled to north, but then we've also got the benefit of 1.2 kilowatt of good quality older gear.
Yep.
But and that still tracks with the sun naturally.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
That's great. So what happened? So run us through what happened on the actual event when the fires were approaching.
It was approximately about half a kilometre away and heading in their direction. So
you could see it on the approach to the
absolutely
property,
the cloud was as high as you could see. So and hanging over the property. So and their initial thought was to stay, and they had CFA come up the driveway and advise that they should leave. But once they started getting the CFA messages saying it's too late to leave and all those sorts of things, the anxiety and stress kicked in, and there was another window of opportunity where a message came through that said if there is an opportunity to leave, but you need to leave now. So that was when they left. So then basically the house was up to left to its own devices.
Yeah. So literally, so the sprinkler system was set away, underway.
Yeah. So as it turned out, the fire front came through. It just missed the property, but there was lots of ember attacks in the neighbouring properties and things. But the fire front came through about 4 or 5 hours after they actually left.
Right.
So at that stage, the electric water pump was still going. The fire pump had shut off hours earlier.
Really? So that was the fuel pump gone. So now
fuel pump. Now it was the electric backup, which was purely running off batteries. And at 9 o'clock at night, at that stage, it was obviously no sunshine. And even though they had a backup generator, it was a manual start instead of an auto start. So basically, by that stage, the girls were safely back in town, but unaware of how their property was faring. But there was an interesting message. The batteries eventually drained down through the night with no backup generator to automatic kick in.
And that was through Select Live?
Yeah, so they got a message at 3 o'clock in the morning, Select Live, to say that the low battery warning.
Yeah.
So that was a win-win situation because that meant that the battery shed was still operational,
Brilliant.
and B, the house was working because the internet was on. So it was really encouraging for them at that point. So and then the system eventually shut down another hour or two later with low battery.
Yep.
I got a message from the girls the following day saying, the system's down, what should we do? And kicked in the backup generator, and that started charging straight away, and everything started kicking off, and then they were back in and running. So, and it was back to normal then. So
that's fantastic. So just life as normal.
Life as normal. So
fantastic.
They had the redundancy, they had the emergency backup. They had some awareness of how things were going.
Yep.
So peace of mind there, and then easy to get going again when it was, completely shut down the following day.
That's amazing. And some of the neighbouring properties, they lost power?
Yeah, so the whole area lost power for nearly a week. So, and obviously all their fridges and everything, they didn't lose any food or anything because the system was operational the next day. But there was, become a support mechanism for the neighbourhood. So, having that reliability of power to keep going.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Well, that's it. And we've seen that from many customers across the region that, that were saved by, having battery backup systems and being able to run pumps and keep functioning. And then more importantly, one, to survive the actual the emergency, but then to keep functioning afterwards, because a lot of those areas that they just didn't have power for a considerable amount of time, and the customers that had solar and battery systems were still functioning as normal.
What would be your sort of general messaging going forward to people, like considering off-grid and
I think talk to an expert that is experienced in the area.
Yep.
Especially in solar and battery systems.
Yep.
Somebody that's been doing it for a long time, and then obviously you're going to get the advice of installing good quality gear. Electronics proven year in, year out to be, at the forefront of that. And the girls were highly comfortable with, going with that product again, because they had years of good service, from the previous system, from the previous owner. And our advice was always to go with that product anyway. And the proof was in the pudding. It was bulletproof reliable when they needed it. So, we're seeing that right across the board. The customers that are, investing in their futures, and they're investing in good quality gear and being properly installed.
Yep.
Has proven itself time and again.
Fantastic. All right. Well, thank you very much for your time.
No worries.
Appreciate it. Take care.
All right.